Tottenham Hotspur 2, Manchester United 0.
Football predictions.
Hillsborough Rangers 0, Ipswich Town 1.
Football predictions.
Peter Guest and the Moose here for another episode of the footballpredictions.net Ligue podcast covering games from the 4th to the 6th of April 2025. And you can see the details for all the matches we're about to discuss in the description area of this podcast. And then if you go there, you'll end up on our website, footballpredictions.net, where you can also see fixtures from just about every other football competition in the world.
Yes, and on our website, it'll show you where to watch the games on local broadcast channels, plus video streaming services, as well as match odds from local bookmakers. Look in the description of this podcast episode for direct clickable links to all of the matches we are about to discuss. If you're streaming any matches on Bet365, geolocation and live streaming rules apply. 18 plus, gamble aware.
So let's go with Nice, who are in 4th, taking on Nantes, who are 13th in the Ligue 1 table. It's on Friday, the 4th of April. It's at 7:45 in the evening, UK time anyway. Like we said, click in the link in the description of this podcast for this game, and you'll be able to see your localized kickoff time, odds, TV channels, and streaming services. This one is available on League One Pass, and if you want to pay for a subscription, that is. Otherwise, watch it on Bet365. Use the bonus code FP365 when you sign up. And to qualify, all you need is any funds in your account or to have placed a bet with them in the last 24 hours. Well, we did predict Nice to get beaten by Monaco last week, but they haven't actually won since the 1st of March now.
No, Nice now have not, like you say, not won in 3 matches now. That includes 2 defeats and a draw. The 2 defeats did come to Monaco and Lyon, so 2 of the better teams, of course, in the in League One. But yeah, Monaco last weekend, we predicted 3-1 Monaco. It ended 2-1. So both teams to score, and the prediction for Monaco to win was bang on the money there. In terms of Nice's last home match, that was against Auxerre. Did predict Nice to go on and win that one, but our main prediction was a both teams to score prediction, ended 1-1. Now, prior to this little dodgy spell that Nice is having right now, and it seems like they just started to choke as they were entering the Champions League spots. Now, all of a sudden, they're down to 4th, which will only give you a qualification spot to the Champions League. But they are on points with Lille and just 1 point above Strasbourg and just 2 points above Lyon there. So they could drop out of these European spots altogether if they're continuing this current trend and this little bad run of form they're in. But if we do look at some of the teams that Nice were playing before this little spell, they did beat the likes of Montpellier, Lens, and Marseille at home, and Reims at home after the winter break. So Nice is a strong home team, but yeah, obviously they've not won in their last 2 games. But overall, they are looking very strong. The only game they've not managed to score in at home, it was that game against Lyon. The rest of the matches, they've scored over 2 goals on average at home. If we look at their away team, Nantes, they're not in too good shape themselves. Basically, in January, after the winter break, Nantes had 4 matches. They all ended in draws, and now they haven't had a single draw since. No draws in the last 8, 3 wins, and 5 defeats. This includes some heavy defeats, though, especially away from home, where Nantes is not doing very well at all. They've conceded 12 goals across the last 3 away matches. That includes a 7-1 defeat at Monaco, a 2-0 defeat at Marseille, and most recently a 3-2 defeat at Havre. That was the game last weekend. We had both teams to score in that game, and yeah, that went in fairly quick because it was 1-1 already after 23 minutes. Now for this game at Nice, what do we think?
Well, both teams seem to concede, don't they, in most of their games. Although Nantes, haven't won away from home in the last 3. And if you look at Nice, they're winless against Nantes in the last 5 league matches. So that's an interesting stat, but we think that'll be broken here. Yeah. We've gone for a Nice win. 1.5 are the odds you can get for that. You might look for a bit of better value, though, in both teams to score, which is what we're predicting as our tip. And 1.91 is what you can get for both teams to score. How do we think they'll score? We think it'll be 3 goals to the home side and 1 to the away side. So if you go for a correct score prediction of 3-1, which we have, you can get current odds of 12 or 11-1 in fractional. Just looking at the other odds for this game, Nantes are out at 6.5, the draw 4.2, and like I said, Nice best priced at 1.5 at the moment. Let's see how that one goes. Next up, we've got PSG, top of the table, taking on Angers, who are 14th. It's on Saturday, the 5th of April, 4 p.m. kickoff, UK time, that is. Click the link in the description of this podcast, and then you'll be able to find your localized kickoff time, odds, TV channels for this game. And it is one you can stream on Bet365. Use the bonus code FP365 when you join. All you need, once you're in there, is a funded account or to have placed a bet with them in the last 24 hours, and you can watch it. PSG Moose are rolling along very well in all competitions at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, very, very well. But if we isolate this just to League One and at home in France, wow. I mean, PSG is flying. I mean, it's not even, it's almost boring. They're that good. However, there was a little bit of excitement last weekend at Saint-Etienne because the first goal, there were 7 goals scored in this game. The first goal was scored by Saint-Etienne. They went 1-0 up in the 9th minute, but then PSG managed to equalize just before halftime and then absolutely demolished Saint-Etienne in the second half. They beat them 6-1. We had PSG to win 3-1 in that game, but what it does mean, we had both teams to score and PSG to win. And in fact, that has been our tip for the 4 most recent games back in France. They won. We had 3-1 midweek against Dunkirk in Coupe de France. They won 4-2 against Marseille. Another both teams to score on PSG prediction, and the same at Reims where they won 4-1. Now, when we talk PSG, we have to talk goals as well. The last 5 matches in League One, PSG has scored an average of 4 goals a game. So, yeah, lots and lots of goals in PSG. Especially after the Christmas break, where they have frequently scored 4 goals or more per game. So yeah, it's really they are really looking strong, and of course they're through in the Champions League as well. It's going to be really interesting to see how they now do in that competition, because they've obviously won League One quite a few match weeks back, mathematically. Not quite yet, but let's just admit it, they're going to win it. Angers, their away team, Angers was actually starting to get into a bit of a groove after the Christmas break. He won the first 3 matches in League One, but then since then, they've actually only recorded 1 win in the last 9, and they now have 4 straight defeats and not managed to score a single goal across those 4 matches. So they've not scored now in the last 4 games where they have conceded 2 or more in each one of them. The last game was a 3-0 home defeat to Rennes. We actually had Rennes to win that game. We also had Monaco to beat Angers in the game before that. And then in the most recent away game at Brest, we had the correct score because we said Brest were going to beat Angers 2-0. So yeah, going into this game against PSG, you do not want to go to PSG not having scored in your last 4 games, having lost the last 4 games. There's going to be a very tricky one for Angers to. It's probably going to be a bit of damage control there, like in terms of limiting how many goals they're going to concede.
Yeah, you would have thought so. But, having said that, I know that Angers haven't scored since February, but PSG themselves are very open. I mean, they just attack. So they do, if you look at their matches, they concede as well. And that bears out with the last Coupe de France game against Dunkirk, where they beat them 2-4. Dunkirk lost 2-4 to PSG. 6-1, like you said, Saint-Etienne in League One before that. So you got a goal if you're Saint-Etienne. You got a goal. Marseille got a goal, didn't they, in League One as well in the previous game, like you said. So, and even Rennes got a goal. So the only team that didn't get a goal, ironically, was Liverpool in their last 5 games. But we think that the value here, I mean, if you look at PSG to win, you've only got 1.14 as the odds, which is not really worth doing, is it? So if you like to get a bit more value, we think you should look at both teams to score, because you can get 1.8 for that. And let's face it, PSG have been usually involved in both teams to scores, but then they usually outscore the opponents by quite a lot, which is what we're predicting here. So we've gone for a correct score prediction of 3-1. You can get odds there of 11. That's 10-1 in fractional. Just so you know, the other odds, they're quite ridiculous. Angers, you can get 19 as the odds took for them to win, and a draw, 8.5. 8.5 is not a bad little idea, but yeah, with PSG being at home, you don't really see them dropping any points, and you do see them scoring lots of goals. So I think over 2.5 might be another good option for this one, but we've gone for both teams to score. Let's move on to the next one, which is Brest, who are 8th, taking on Monaco, who are 2nd. It's on Saturday, the 5th of April. It's at 6 o'clock UK time. Click the link in the description of this podcast and you'll be able to see your local kickoff time, odds and streaming channels. You can stream this one on a Ligue 1 pass if you want to pay for a subscription. Otherwise, you can watch it on Bet365. Use the bonus code FP365 when you sign up, and to qualify, all you need is funds in your account or to have placed a bet in the last 24 hours. Well, Moose, Brest had a good win against Toulouse, didn't they? Maybe against the odds.
Yeah, it was a very good win. They won 4-2 in that game, a little bit against the odds, like you say, a bit unpredictable. Brest, they have been having a very sort of varied form going into this game. They have 2 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss from the last 6 games. But at home, Brest is fairly strong, although they have just 1 win from the last 4. But their 3 defeats this season at home has come to PSG, Nice, and Marseille. So those are 3 teams in the top 4, right? So strong teams. Obviously, Monaco is the last of the 4 teams in the top 4. So there might be a clue there. Brest is not just there yet when it comes to playing against the sides that are sitting at the top of the table. But yeah, and in general, their form is very mixed, but they are going into this game on the back of that 4-2 win. The most recent home game ended 0-0 against Reims. And then they had and we had a correct score prediction against Angers, the 2-0, that 2-0 win. We also had Brest correct score in the game before that at Lyon. We had 2-1 Lyon, and it ended 2-1. So yeah, we've had some pretty decent predictions on Brest of late. They are playing, though, a Monaco team here that is now 2nd in Ligue 1, but are still really fighting to keep themselves in the running for those automatic Champions League spots, because it is so tight at the top there. Just 4 points between Monaco in 2nd and Strasbourg in 6th. So every point counts, and Monaco has picked up some nice form of late. It is away from home, though, that they are suffering defeats, and their form up until that away win at Angers, so that was the most recent away game, that ended with a 2-0 Monaco win. We had the outcome in that game. We had Monaco to win that game, but that came on the back of 7 games without a win away from home for Monaco. So they do tend to struggle a little bit away from home. They don't tend to score too many goals either, sort of an average of just 1 goal across their last 8 away games away from home. But yeah, they have picked up some form of late, and if we look overall, they do have 4 wins from their last 6. Including the last couple of games. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on at Brest, which won't be an easy test for them.
It won't be an easy test, but Monaco do have the wood over them. They've won all 6 out of their last 6 meetings between them, and they're just really the better team, I guess. We think that it will be, though, in this one, tight, and we've gone for an under 2.5 goals tip, and it's odds there of 2.2, which is very, very good. In terms of the result, we do think Monaco will win, but we think it'll be close, like I mentioned. For a Monaco win, you can get odds of 1.9 at the moment. And for the correct score prediction, we've gone for a very close 1-0, and that's to Monaco, of course. So Brest 0, Monaco 1, and the odds there are 9.5. Just to let you know the other odds. You can get Brest at 4 and a draw at 3.6. So, slightly favouring Monaco in this one with the odds as well, but we think that's probably the likely thing as well that will happen. Shall we move on to our next game, which is Lyon, 7th in the table, taking on Lille in 5th. It's on Saturday, the 5th of April, 8:05 in the evening, UK time. Check the link in the description of this podcast, and you'll be able to see your local kickoff time, betting odds, and your available viewing options. It's on TV5 Monde, it's on Ligue 1 Pass, but if you don't want to pay for a subscription, go to Bet365 to qualify for that. All you need is a funded account or to have placed a bet with them in the last 24 hours. Use the bonus code FP365 when you do join. Tell you what, Lyon were rolling along very well until they hit Strasbourg.
Yes, Lyon in League One were in very good form. They had 5 wins from 6, and that only one match they didn't win. That was a home defeat to PSG. Once again, we know how good PSG are, so they'll be forgiven for losing that game. But yeah, they went to Strasbourg and they lost that game. We also know Strasbourg is in very good form at the moment, so this was a really key game at the top of League One, and once again in the running for those European spots. What it meant was that Strasbourg actually overtook Lyon in the table. Lyon went down to 7th, but they are still just a couple of points off the Champions League playoff spot, so they're still very much in it. And they're playing, of course, Lille in 5th here, so a good chance for them to leapfrog them now in the table. What is interesting when we do look at Lyon, and let's have a look at some of their most recent games. Like we said last week at Strasbourg, we knew there were going to be goals. So goalless at halftime, but it ended 4-2 Strasbourg. We had both teams to score in that game. The most recent home game for Lyon was against Havre, and we had Lyon to win and both teams to score. And we were pretty comfortable on that prediction because it ended 4-2 to Lyon in that game. Lyon is also through in the Europa League, so they do have that to play for as well. They beat Steaua Bucharest. And in that home game against Steaua Bucharest, we had 3-0. They had ended 4-0. But yeah, overall, Lyon is in good form. But yeah, there was a setback last week against Strasbourg. They can't afford another setback in this top flight for these European spots again against Lille. One thing I want to say about Lyon is there's been really a lot of goals in the most recent games. The last 8 games, there's been 36 goals. But guess what? In the first half, there's only been 8 of those scored. So the second half, when Lyon is playing, is loaded with goals. So let's see how they get on against Lille here. But it is a little side. Like I said, they sit in 5th. They're also looking very much at those Champions League spots as well. And that's why this is going to be a very interesting game. Now, Lille, over the last 10 games, 6 wins, 0 draws, and 4 defeats. So this is going to be either or if we're looking at the last 10 matches going into this one. Away from home, though, Lille is not that strong. Just 1 win from the last 8. That was against Rennes. Other than that, 3 out of the last 4 away matches has ended in defeat. That was most recently at Nantes. That ended 1-0 Nantes. We had under 2.5 goals. That's our main prediction in that game. He lost 4-1 at PSG and 2-1 at Strasbourg. So, yeah, we probably have to consider Lille is quite poor away from home. They don't tend to win too many games. Do they have a goal in them? Maybe, but of late they do have a couple of games there where they haven't managed to score. Yeah, there will be a tricky one for them at Lyon, but this is a high-pressure game because both teams really need to win.
Yeah, I mean, this will be an interesting match because it's very tight on the table. I know we're talking about Lyon tend to have goals in them, but, Lille don't. And look at their last 3 results. 1-0 against Montpellier for Lille, that's a Lille win. And then they lost 1-0 to Nantes. And then they won 1-0 to Lens, which we predicted 1-0, by the way. So 1-0 is the last 3 scorelines. And this time they're away from home. We think it's probably going to go the same kind of tight result. We're going to go for, therefore, under 2.5 goals. That's our tip. And fairly good odds for that. You can get 2.1 for under 2.5 goals as a bet for this one. But we do think it'll be Lyon to win, just. And the odds there are kind of similar, 2.2 for that. Now, correct score prediction time. I mentioned all those 1-0s, and we think, again, that there'll be a 1-0, this time in the favour of Lyon. So correct score of 1-0 will get you odds of 9.5 with the bookies at the moment. That's with Bet365. Seems to have the best odds on that at the moment. So let's see what happens at the Groupama Stadium, but that's what we're going for. Let's move on now to our summary matches. And the first one of those is Lens, who are 9th in the table, taking on Saint Etienne, who are down in 17th. It's 2 p.m. on Sunday, the 6th of April, UK time, that is. Click the link in the description, of course, of this podcast, and you'll be able to see all your localized stuff for this. You can stream this on Bet365. To qualify for that, all you need is funds in your account or to have placed a bet in the last 24 hours. Sign up with the bonus code FP365. Well, for this one, we've gone for a high scorer. So we've gone for both teams to score as well. That's our tip, both teams to score. And a correct score of Lens 3, Saint Etienne 1.
Yes, moving on to Montpellier in 18th, who takes on Havre in 16th. This game also kicks off Sunday, 6th of April, but at 4:15 UK time. Once again, go to footballpredictions.net and you'll find your local kickoff time, game odds, and available broadcast and streaming channels for this game. One of those, of course, being Bet365. And in order to qualify for the stream, all you need to have is a funded account or have placed a bet in the last 24 hours and use that bonus code FP365 on sign up. Game is also available on the Ligue 1 Pass. But yeah, Montpellier, terrible form. Lost the last 6 going into this game. However, we are thinking that maybe there is still a little bit of life left in them. And we are going with a Montpellier win. A low-scoring game, though, under 2.5 goals. But a correct score, 1-0 Montpellier.
Next up, it's Reims, who are 15th in the table, taking on Strasbourg, who are 6th. And this is on Sunday, the 6th of April, 4:15 UK time in the afternoon. Click the link in the description, of course, of this podcast, and you'll be able to find all your localized details. You can stream this on Ligue 1 Pass, but it's also available subscription free on Bet365. To qualify for that, all you need is a funded account or to have placed a bet in the last 24 hours. And when you join, use the bonus code FP365. Here we think it's going to be another close one, but also low scoring. We've gone for under 2.5 goals as our tip, with a correct score of Reims 0, Strasbourg 1.
Moving on to Rennes in 12th. It takes on Auxerre in 10th. This game kicks off Sunday, 6th of April at 4:15 UK time. Once again, go to footballpredictions.net for your local kickoff time, betting odds, team news, and available broadcast and streaming options in your geo. One of those being Bet365. And in order to qualify, once again, all you need, funded account, or to place the bet in the last 24 hours using that bonus code FP365. Now for this game, we are going to go with a Rennes home win. So that is a Rennes win under 2.5 goals and a correct score prediction of 2-0 Rennes.
Finally, we have Marseille, who are 3rd, taking on Toulouse in 11th. And it's on Sunday, the 6th of April, 7:45 UK time. Click the link in the description, of course, of this podcast, and you'll be able to find all the details for the match, available broadcast streaming options, all the odds, and the streaming. You can watch it on Ligue 1 Pass, but if you don't want to watch it on a subscription model, you can see it on Bet365 streamed. To qualify for that, all you need is funds in your account or to have placed a bet in the last 24 hours. Sign up with the bonus code FP365, of course. And for this game, we think that it's going to be close again, but we think both teams will score, and that's our tip. We've gone for a correct score prediction of Marseille 2, Toulouse 1. Again, live streaming is available for that on Bet365, and geolocation and live streaming rules apply. Full details are available on the Bet365 website. 18 plus, gamble aware.
Yes, and in the description section of this podcast, you'll find links to all of the matches we've just been discussing, or simply head to footballpredictions.net. Once you're there, you'll find the online sources to watch games from your location while streaming and TV channels, team news, our predictions for different betting markets, as well as the best offers and odds.
You probably know, but we'll tell you anyway, that we record football podcasts for additional competitions in addition to Ligue, and you can listen to them all at podcast.footballpredictions.net, or where you normally access your podcasts from, like Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. Well, thank you for listening, and for now it is...
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Football predictions.